All right, good afternoon, everyone. We're now getting ready to start the NC State portion of the press conferences for today. I'd like to remind you that there is no videoing allowed in the room. You can take pictures, not videos. If you have a question, we'll ask you to raise your hand and wait until we get the microphone to you. So let's go ahead and open it up. Are there any questions for the student athletes? Let's start with Mitch and then we'll go back there.
Yeah, Mitch Northam, Associated Press. Elisa, I was wondering, if kind of during the season you're somebody who watches, other games in your off time, and do you pay attention to kind of like what the other kind of top players around the sport are doing?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I watch like as many games as I can, and just like highlight film and all that, because you can always learn from other players and different matchups that happen. Like, oh, we played this team and now this team is playing them. So for sure. I mean, I think I stayed up to like 12 o'clock last night trying to finish watching all the women's games that were going on. So yeah, I try to watch as much basketball as possible.
So then I have a follow-up. Did you watch Lee's 61-point game against Oklahoma, and what did you think?
I didn't, but we have the clips ready to watch them later.
Okay, let's go back there in the second row.
Yeah, Alex Sawyer with Pack Pride. Elisa, we talked to Kai and Kayla the other day, and they were talking about when you go into an aggressive mode, it's like, okay, there she is. You've been scoring a lot of points in the last few weeks. Have you felt yourself being a little bit more aggressive offensively and trying to find your shot a little bit more?
I think so, a little bit. I know that every single person on our team is capable of scoring, but then obviously everybody has their off nights, and so when it's time for me to step up and have an on night and maybe score more for the team, then I'm ready for that. But if it's a night where it's kind of just everybody spreading around the scoring, then I'm also just ready to play that role. So it's kind of whatever the night calls for.
Okay, we can go to Ernie back in the middle.
Ernie Myers, NC State Radio. Diamond Johnson, is this everything you expected when you transferred from Rutgers? Are you where you want to be?
This is definitely everything I wanted. I wanted to play on the big stage, play with great players, play for a good coach. So we finally here. We've been talking about March since the beginning of the season, and we just got to take it one game at a time, but we ready. I feel it.
Let's go up front here to Jones.
Jonas Pope, News and Observer. Diamond, this is for you. Coach Moore talked about it all year. Not only you, but Jada kind of accepting the role of coming off the bench. I know everybody wants to start, but kind of talk about that buy-in and accepting that role and the responsibility of being that person to come off the bench and provide a spark.
Once I knew what my role was, I try to do the best I can in it. It's days where I feel off but I just got to play that role for my team, not be selfish. So it's been good to me. I honestly like it. We need sparks off the bench, keep the momentum going, and that's what I try to provide for my team, do a little bit of everything, and that's what helped us got here. Everybody played their role and played it right, so that's why we're here today.
Let's go cross over here, Brett.
Brett Freelander, North State Journal. Alyssa, looking back at the box score, Ilka had 19 against you in the earlier matchup, but a lot of those came late after the game was kind of decided. What did you do defensively to neutralize her, and what do you have to do this time? How have things changed since that game?
We're going to keep it pretty much the same. We kept her below her average. I remember that game, and obviously we came out with a W, so I think just focusing either whether we're going to be in front, behind, three quarters, like whatever we're going to do defensively, just buying into that and fighting every single possession. I remember last game kind of letting up a little bit in the fourth quarter, honestly, and I still think about that to this day. So just battling through every possession throughout the whole game, and hopefully we'll keep her under that.
Let's go back to Jonas.
This is Lisa. This is a follow-up to the question for Diamond. Coach Moore said a bigger difference this year is having the bench, having more depth. Can you tell a difference in having, I'm not saying more quality reserves, but reserves who could be starters? Has that been a main difference for the team this year?
Yeah, it's huge. Kind of like I talked about earlier, not everybody's going to have a good night. It's basketball. There's bad nights. And so when you have someone have an off night and you have someone like Diamond that can come in and score a bucket as soon as she touches the ball, that's going to help our team out. Foul trouble or just being tired, off nights, whatever it is. And then you also look at it in practice, you know. You got Diamond Ray going against each other every day in practice, and you have all of us playing against each other. It just makes our team better as a whole. And then wanting to be in that starting position or even have more minutes, because everyone has to fight for minutes on the team. So everyone's always battling, and there's never just like an easy day in practice or an easy day.
And Damon, you said earlier you kind of like it. Do you see a difference kind of watching the game start from the bench? You kind of break it down a bit different as opposed to starting right away on the floor?
Yeah, I get to see different things. You know, when I see different things, I try to tell them from the sideline, like, what's going on, whether they helping, over helping, doubling the post, or just going under screen. Just try to tell them so that they can make the read. And when I go in, I try to adjust and do what I've been telling them to do. So it's definitely a blessing to see what they don't see sometimes.
Let's go to Kelly in the second row in the middle there.
Hey guys, Kelly Gramlich, ESPN. Elise, I want to talk with you because I've been following two of your assistant coaches, Aaron and Nikki, who both were great post players in their day. And I believe this is the first time that Aaron's been able to coach someone for all 4 years, which is you, and I know she's big in your recruiting. So what do those two mean to you, having the experience playing your position in the ACC, and what have you learned from them?
Honestly, so Evie's been here the longest for me, and she's just been huge. You know, she's the one that I watch film with. She's the one that like tells me to go up there and watch film with her, and that I ask, and she's always like, yes, we can do everything, you know. And then she's the one in the gym with me too. So if I ask her for a workout or we watch the game, be like, oh, let's work on that tomorrow. She's always the one like making notes for me during the games and just in practices and helping me out. And then Coach Nikki's almost like a good cop, bad cop relationship. Coach Nikki's the one that's gonna yell at you and tell you to do it, and Evie's gonna be the one that like kind of coach you along a little bit. But the dynamic of them, they've just helped me so much over this career. And Evie, I think it's super thankful, and I get almost like emotional when I think about her being here for all my 4 years, really being solid over those 4 years.
Okay, any other questions? Okay. Ready one? Let's start here on the edge here, and then we'll get Mitch, and then we'll get Kelly.
Elisa, Camille has gotten better and better, you know, as her years have gone along and as this year's gone along. Just for you, how have you seen her game grow through the last couple years?
I mean, she's probably one of the most competitive people on the team. You know, even in practice, she's not going to let someone like try to block her shot or score against her. So I think she's just like kind of taken her role into her head and just been like, I'm going to play my hardest and do what I can with her minutes, and then also just in practice battling it out, you know. That's one reason why I've gotten better over my years, because I've had her to go against every day in practice. And every time she come in, she does great. If I'm in foul trouble or anything, she's able to just pick up, and there's no drop off. So I think she's going to be a really good player.
Let's go to Mitch up front.
Yeah, Diamond, the one thing I noticed kind of looking at Kansas State's roster is their guards are pretty tall and long for the guard position. I think they're all about 6 foot, 6'1". What kind of challenges does that present for you, or do you see that maybe as an advantage if you can kind of be quicker?
I basically been playing against taller guards all my life. Long ago, it was the first guards I played that was my height or shorter. So that was good. But it's definitely a challenge. They longer, lanky, you know, but I do have quickness to get, you know, a step ahead. But playing against taller guards make me better. It make me focus on my shot more, creating space more. So I like playing against taller guards. Even in practice, everybody taller than me except for Raina. She thinks she's taller, but she's not. So yeah, just I try to, even in practice, I try to guard like somebody like Jakia or Kai, just so I can learn how to guard bigger guards more and stuff like that. So it's definitely a challenge, but it's been good to me going against taller guards.
Let's go back to Kelly in the middle.
This one is for both of you guys, if you can both answer. With Raina, I think she is perhaps one of the most underrated point guards in the country with what she does. She played basically a perfect first half yesterday. So, Diamond, what is the benefit when you guys get to play together? And then just overall, do you feel like Raina gets the credit she deserves?
Playing with Ray is I love playing with her. We know where each other are on the floor. We get out in transition, pass the ball up the court. Whenever she's tired, somebody pressing her, I come help her, come get the ball, and vice versa. Ray is definitely a good point guard. I think she don't get as much credit as she deserves, but she's really solid. She probably one of the best point guards I saw. And this is my first year seeing her. I saw her a little bit last year, but this year I actually get to see like everything in practice and the game. So Ray is definitely a good point guard, and I love playing with her.
Elisa, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, I definitely don't think people talk about Raina enough. I mean, she's our point guard, leading the number one seed in the tournament in the country. So I definitely don't think so. But I think she goes out there and she doesn't care about that. She shows it every single night why she's our point guard and why she can do anything in the world for us, whether it's points, assists, like whatever role she needs to play that game. So yeah, I don't.
Okay, Jonas, you have a question? Right there.
Question for Elisa. Senior day was senior day. You had the ceremony and everything, but you knew you would get more games here. So tomorrow is it for your career in Reynolds. Do you have a favorite Reynolds memory, and just how do you kind of process the emotions of playing your last game here?
Yeah, for senior night, I did think like, okay, yeah, it is senior night, but we'll be back in this building. But I'm excited about it. And honestly, my favorite Reynolds memories, like beside games, like obviously I've had games and like it's been loud in here and all that, but I still remember like when I committed to NC State and came here and was like eating a soft pretzel with like my dad and my mom, like watching the game. So I think that's still like one of my core memories about Reynolds, just watching everything play. But yeah, it's gonna be crazy, like it actually being my last game here. But I'm excited for it, and I think the crowd's gonna be amazing. We saw it yesterday, how many people showed up, like sold it out for a first round game. So Reynolds is amazing. The people who fill it are amazing, and so I'm excited for one last time.
Any other questions? All right, ladies, thank you very, very much, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Moore should be here shortly. All right, we are now ready to begin Coach Moore's press conference. Coach, could you please give us an opening statement?
Okay. Glad to be here today, obviously. Appreciate you guys being here. We obviously played Kansas State. Seems like a few years ago, but it was a few months ago. So, it's interesting to see how they've evolved and got a lot of young players now in the starting lineup. And, of course, it's all centered around Lee and, trying to slow her down, obviously, is a big challenge. And then when they have a lot of people that can knock down threes around her, we know we'll have to play well. So, like the way we played yesterday, a lot of people got involved. A lot of people scored the ball. Thought we did a good job on the offensive boards, which has been a point of emphasis. And, it's good to get back out there and play after being off almost 2 weeks. So, hopefully we got the rust knocked off and we can come out and play well tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll now open up the floor for questions. Let's start with Jonas, and then we'll go to Mitch.
Coach, you've talked all year about your bench and how that's been a big difference. You talked about it yesterday. Diamond was a player who came in, was all Big Ten, started the first game. So what was that conversation like when you had to transition her to a role player and come off the bench for the team?
Well, first of all, I don't consider her a role player. We just have 7 or 8 starters. But she's made it easy on me. She's had a great attitude. And, I talked to her early in the year about, hey, why don't we this year, let's see if you can be 6th player of the year in the ACC. And she went out and did that. And I think she kind of liked the idea of having something there. But she's just fit in so well. And, again, a lot of it has to do, she's just a good person and has good personality and loves the game. So that, wears off on everybody else. And, like I said, she's made it easy on me just by accepting that. And when she's in there, when she goes in there, she gives us a big lift. So it's worked out really well, obviously.
Let's go to Mitch, and then we'll get Brett next.
Yeah, Mitch North from Associated Press. Coach, the first time you guys played Kansas State, Lee really struggled until the 4th quarter, and by that point, you all were already up double digits. What was kind of the strategy going in, and what worked so well against her?
Well, I don't know. You try to make it hard for them to get it to her, but they're really good at it. I mean, that's what they do. So work inside out. We prepare 3 or 4 different ways to defend her, and you'd love to just have to use one of them. But if that's not working, then obviously you go to plan B, and if need be, plan C or whatever. So that's what we'll do today in practice is kind of reiterate those things. And but really, at some point you just got to hope she misses, a few, because she doesn't miss very often. And she does a great job of burying, got good hands, and a really nice baby hook, which I think is really hard to defend. And then also the offensive boards. She gets a lot of stuff there by being able to get position early and finish with the putback. So it'll take a team effort also. The guards are going to have to be really active and helping from the weak side and maybe digging down a little bit. And so it's a team effort for sure, trying to slow her down.
Okay, let's get Brett, and then we'll go in the back to Ernie after that.
Brett Friedlander, North State Journal. Wes, earlier in Alyssa's career, I remember you saying that she needed to get more of a mean streak, and she has developed an aggressiveness over her career. What went into that process, and do you see it really coming out more when she's presented with a challenge like Kitley or now Lee?
Yeah, I do think Alyssa's has a competitive streak in her and wants to perform well. So I think probably when she's faced with someone like Lee, who's a really great player, definitely gets her attention. But I think Lisa's been pretty consistent throughout her career. Most of the time, she's going to show up and do her thing. And I do think that's tough. You want to stay out of foul trouble. You got to make sure you pick your spots, and sometimes you may just have to back off and all those things because we need Lisa on the court as well. So I think she's, again, sometimes can be aggressive and go for the steal or whatever, and you just got to make sure you stress to her. We need you in there over the long haul, so got to be pretty smart about it. But yeah, again, her and Camille make a pretty good tag team, and like I said, also the guards. We're gonna have to have everybody helping on Lee because y'all realize she scored 61 against Oklahoma, right? So that's what she's capable of doing. So definitely going to draw some attention.
Okay, go in the back to Ernie, and then we'll get Kelly.
Hey, Coach.
Hey.
I know everybody's talking about Lee, but Sundal had a great game. Her
Yeah.
first game here, I think she had 20 points as a freshman. How do you feel about players who,
Yeah.
had good games against you and they're
Yeah.
familiar and they usually try to have a,
Yeah.
So what do you feel about
Yeah, she hit 5 out of 11 threes in that game. And what's funny is I told I preached all week, we're going to make somebody else be the leading scorer besides Lee. Well, we did. Congrats, Coach. Great strategy. But no, Lee had 19 and Sundal had, actually, I think had 21. So, that's the scary part. I mean, it's hard to cover all of them. And obviously, we'll try to do a better job on her. And, we'll have Kai matched up with her. But still, when you're focused on trying to slow down a great post player, it makes it a little bit easier for everybody else around them. And so you just got to, like I said, we've got to play with a lot of energy, a lot of urgency, getting inside, out, flooding down, flooding back out, all those things. So just got to be real active.
Okay, let's go to Kelly, and then we'll get Mitch up front next.
Coach, how has the step been received by the team, and how is neighbor Ron doing? Can we get an update on him?
Yeah. I haven't really talked to neighbor Ron the last day or two, but I know he was at the game yesterday. But the players, they kind of get a kick out of it. So we were able to switch it over to Kansas State immediately after the game yesterday. So when they got on the bus, they could update that. But it's been interesting to hear them talking about it. And they just say it does remind us that we just need to focus on one. Don't look at this big old bracket. It doesn't matter. Look at this next game. And so from that standpoint, it's been good. So, but yeah, Ron, we appreciate Ron.
Let's go front to Mitch.
Wes, you mentioned Lee's 61-point game yesterday and today. I was wondering kind of how much that game is a part of the scouting report and how much you focus on, an outlier like that.
Yeah, well, they played Oklahoma twice. So the next time they played Oklahoma switched up the way they were playing. So it's interesting to, see those adjustments. And, it's the thing is there's like I said, several ways of doing it. But you also got to recognize what are we good at doing, I like sometimes fronting, but we hadn't done a real good job with it. I don't get it really because I just tell them, act like you're on offense and you're posting up, and when they're on offense, they know how to do that. But that's what you want them to do is really post up big and try to crab walk them down a little bit. And for whatever reason, we stand straight up and they throw the lob and they go get it. So, but we, you got to do what you do well. But at the same time, like I said, you got to have a lot of options. If something isn't working, we're going to try something else and hope one of them works. And again, great player. And but what makes her, a part of it too is they got other people around her. As we mentioned, Sunhill hit 5 threes on us. They got other players that are capable of having a day like that, and that can mess up your plans in a hurry. And there'll be fans up there yelling, "Why aren't you guarding her?" Well, hey, we got to pick our poison here,
Any other questions? All right, Coach, thank you very much. Good
Thank
luck
y'all.
tomorrow.
Thank you, thank you.
What should be about 20, 25 minutes before we get Kansas State in here.
You've been handing out Ron business cards too, so that he can meet like other business since he's
No,
got
that's-
so much
he
free
just does that
advertising.
for fun. It's not his full-time job. You know, I think you may work.
Could be an
I think you may
opportunity.
work in the media or something where you don't have to work really many hours. Yeah, you got time to do stuff like that.
Gotta get Ron an Etsy store or
Your top 10 play tonight?
What's that?
All right, we're now ready to begin the Kansas State portion of the press conference. Once again, please, no videotaping of the press conference. Still photographs are fine, though. And if you have a question, please raise your hand and wait until we get the microphone to you before you ask your question. Okay, let's start with Jonas right here.
Just for anyone who wants to answer, what's the benefits of a rematch, of playing the team you saw early in the year? What's different about them? What's different about you guys this late in the season?
Riley, could you answer that, please?
Yeah. I think for this rematch, I'm definitely looking forward to this rematch because at the beginning of the year, we're just starting out, just kind of getting a feel for everything as a team. So now I think we're like way more experienced. We've been playing together a lot longer. And like we've already played here. So there is like some comfort in knowing that we have already like played here, been through this again been through this before. So yeah, I don't know. I'm excited.
Okay, let's go to Brett across there.
Brett Friedlander, North State Journal. Aoka, could you talk about the challenges of matching up against Elisa Cunane, and what did you learn from playing her the first time?
Yeah, I think she's a great player. I mean, NC State's a great team. We have a lot of respect for them. Kind of like what Briley said, I think it's really helpful that like we've already played them. We've already played here. And yeah, I think it's definitely not like an easy matchup. Like we match up really well like with this team. So yeah, I think it's just going back to the fundamentals of my game and just sticking to that. Yeah.
Let's go to Mitch up front.
Yeah, Mitch Northam, Associated Press. Serena, you had 21 points when you played at NC State earlier this year. What worked for you well in that game, and what are you expecting to kind of rely on in this one?
I think that just came a lot from kind of my reads off the ball screen, so we'll have to see how they decide to play it this game, but I feel good about our preparation and knowing that we have options no matter how they want to come out and try to guard that. So yeah, I just want to stay aggressive and find my shot and also find opportunities for my teammates.
Let's go back to Ernie.
Ernie, NC State Radio. I did the game that y'all played here the first time here. Oakley, are you tired of hearing that you scored 61 points in the game? I mean, I'm just asking.
Serena is.
You were a great player before. I mean, you always scored a lot of points, but it's like you're a one-man band, and I'm sure you don't feel that way. I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it is like that game. Like OU isn't an easy opponent, right. So like it's hard because I feel I don't want everything else that our team did well to be overshadowed, right. Because our defense was great that game. Sometimes sometimes I have to remind myself like, oh yeah, like that happened, just because like season's so long, like. Right. And really it's like in the Big 12 anyone can win any given night, so it's kind of like, okay, fun, yeah, celebrate, and then like on to the next. So yeah, I don't know, it's crazy, but yeah, it's a long season. Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right, let's go up front to Jonas.
Okay, so this is an awkward follow-up. Since he mentioned the 61-point game for the other two players, what's it like to be on the floor with someone when they're in a zone like that and score that many points? Like, were you watching the scoreboard? Were you checking the stats on timeouts? So what's it like to see someone else, your teammate, in a zone like that in-game when it's happening?
Serena, could you answer first, please?
Yeah, it was a little unreal, and I was on the court a lot that game, so I'd come off, and I'm on the bench, and I look up, I'm like, 30? It's not even halftime yet, right? And then they just really got playing her the same way, so I didn't see any reason why we wouldn't just she was so efficient, keep going to the same thing, and kind of happens so many times you don't really realize I didn't realize until she was running off the court and the announcer was like, she set the NCAA record, and I was like, how many does she have? Like, 61? Holy crap, it was crazy. It was really unreal.
Briley, can you add anything?
Not really. Like, I was the same exact way. Like, seeing how many she had before halftime, we all kind of went into the locker room thinking that, okay, now they're going to bring more people to her. So, like, us guards on the outside, like, we have to be ready to shoot because they're going to, like, double team her. Like, she already had, like, 30 points at halftime. But then, like, coming out from halftime and, like, still being able to, like, get the ball into her and it's still working, her still scoring efficiently. Like, we just kept doing what was working. And yeah, like exactly like Serena said, like it was unreal. Like looking up and like seeing that she had 61. I didn't even realize it till like she actually did go off the floor, and then everybody was like clapping. I was like, it's like what's happening? Like the game's not over, and that's when I realized, yeah.
Any other questions? Go back to Mitch, please.
Yeah, this is for Riley or Serena. You know, NC State's, you guys are 3 freshmen. NC State has, 2 fifth-year seniors in their backcourt. As guards, what kind of challenges does that represent going up against players that experienced?
Riley, could you start, please?
Yeah, like it is like a little bit intimidating because we are young and they're like more experienced. But then again, like I said earlier, we have played them before, so we do kind of know like their style of play. So at the end of the day, we just have to remain aggressive, keep attacking their guards, and do what we do. And yeah, it should be fun. It should be fun.
Serena, can you add anything?
Yeah, I think we're just going to fall back on our preparation. Our coaches have done a great job to put us in this position. And, yeah, it's a big stage. Obviously, we're the underdogs, but I think we really don't have a lot of fear going into this game because it's just a huge opportunity. Yeah.
All right, other questions? Anyone? All right, ladies, thank you very, very much, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
So we should be 5 to 10 minutes away from Coach Mitty. All right, we are now ready to begin Coach Mitty's portion of the press conference. Coach, if you could we please get an opening statement?
Feels good to be sitting here. I don't. I would say this: we were resilient yesterday. We were tough in the right areas. We couldn't throw in the ocean. It is probably the growth of our team. I said that after the game, and that we continue to fight, dig deep when we're not playing as well or not shooting the ball well. So real proud of our group for doing that. We found just enough offense, found just enough of a push. We knew the first 5 minutes of the third quarter were critical. That was the one thing that I think the team, we talked at halftime about, we got to come out here and we got to be tough defensively. We got to have good possessions. You can have good possessions and not score. But we have to have good possessions, and I thought our group did that, and I thought we made a good push right away to start the third quarter, and then it was a fight till the very end, and I thought our group was pretty resilient.
All right, thank you, Coach. We'll now open it up for questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand and wait till we get you the mic. Go ahead, Mitch, up front.
Yeah, Coach, Mitch Northam, Associated Press. Just, I'll start with kind of the matchup everybody's looking forward to. What kind of challenges does Kunane present?
Well, both ends of the floor. I'll start with defense. She's a physical defender. Smart defender, competitive, smart, knows how to play people, and certainly physically has the physical gifts to do some of those things, and she's willing to sacrifice. Offensively, she's got the ability to run offense through her because she's such a good passer. She's also got the ability to use the bounce some with her back to the basket. So she's just a really, really good all-around player.
Jonah?
Jonas Pope, Raleigh News and Observer. Coach Moore said it seems like years ago, that you guys played that first game. What's different about your group in that first game, and what's different that you've seen from NC State on film about them since that first game?
We've got a couple players that can now get into R-rated movies with their ID, so that's different. That might be true, by the way. I don't know. It was. I said yesterday it was a lifetime ago in basketball terms. I think that. I think we're a better defensive team than we were at that time, but we're not shooting the ball as well as we were when we came in. At that time, we were shooting the ball pretty well, but defensively we're tougher, and they really, they had what they wanted, and they're a very good offensive team. So it's kind of pick your poison with what you want to give them or what you want to try to give them. But I hope we can be a tougher defensive team than we were last time. And I hope we can get our offense back going because that's going to be critical for us to play well tomorrow night.
Let's go to Brett Cross.
Brett Friedlander, North State Journal. Piggybacking on the last question, this time of year, is it an advantage to play somebody that you've already seen this year, or would you rather have somebody fresh?
I was glad to have somebody fresh yesterday. I mean, I think every team that plays in the Power 5 level, you're just sick of the grind. The Big 12, you see everybody, everybody. You're kind of ready to just see somebody new. In terms of Wes's team, I mean, I'd be glad to see somebody new. No, I'm kidding. They're a talented team. So I don't know if it's advantage, disadvantage. I think that, once again, when you're talking about fourth, fifth game of the season for both of us, it's such a different time. This is a different time of the year, so I don't know. I think it can be an advantage. I said from a personnel standpoint, you get a firsthand look at them, and even last night's game, I was curious going into the game about, what we saw on film. Was that going to be the same? Well, we at least have a firsthand look at North Carolina State, and it was a long time ago, but
As far as a quick turnaround from one game to the next, as far as a scout, I mean, at least you've got something to start from as opposed to starting from scratch, right?
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think with any good basketball team or with a team like theirs, they're not going to get too far away from what's made them good, and so yeah, we do. We from a scout perspective, but I don't know that. From a scout perspective, we're still looking at the last 6-8 games. It's still you're squeezing that in about 36 hours, and they're going to do the same. They're going to look at the last 6, 7, 8 games and see what changes we've made and see those things. So you're squeezing a lot in, but yeah, I think you're right to the sense that yes, you do have a good number of things they've already done and we've defended.
Let's go to Kelly, and then we'll get Jonas.
Hey, Coach, I think one thing that really struck me watching Yoki in real life was her poise in that she's people are hanging on her. I mean, triple, sandwich, whatever, and she never really seemed to get rattled. Is that something that she's always had, or have you talked with her about kind of keeping that composure, knowing she's going to get hanged on for 38 minutes a game?
You have your official's license at all? That's too bad. I don't think she's always that way. I think that she's had to learn, much like any player that's been treated differently. You saw her react a little bit, pick up a foul. It really is amazing to me what they allow in terms of the early contact, and that's been a real challenge for her. And I say it's been a real challenge because it went from one player to two players to now sometimes even some teams are bringing a third, and they're all chipping her. They're all, guards are stepping in front of her. Guards are meeting her above the free throw line. You saw last night where Washington State was meeting her about the 12-foot mark, and then it was a wrestling match to get to the, 6, 7 feet. So I think she's done a good job of adjusting, but I still think, as it would be for any player that is having to handle that, she's just got to handle it, and she's got to work hard at getting her position because people are going to take those shots at her, and you hope you get a good whistle in that area. What you really hope is that the officials officiate the rules, which that's all we ever hope for as coaches. What we hate is when it's like, now wait a minute, you said this was a hand check this game, and it's not this game. It's real hard for your players, but there is an element of this game that we all have to adjust to, and she's had to do that with the physicality.
Back to Jonas up front.
One of the players mentioned, now, at least we've played here before, been to this building before. Is that a big deal this time of year, or is it not something that's that big of a factor? Familiarity and being in a
Well, it didn't help our shooting yesterday, so maybe it'll help us tomorrow. I think I don't know. I think the familiarity. I think it's fine. I love this arena. I love this arena. I love seeing the crowd. I love the fact Wes has done a great job here, and I love the arena. I think it's a fun arena to even just be in for practice. I think our players kind of feel the same way about it. I think they feel the same way of stepping in there. So there is a comfort level to that, but ultimately it's gonna get back to all the things that we've been preparing for all year long. Can we defend? Can we have good offensive possessions? I think at this time we've been in so many. I'm amazed some of them remember that we've been here. We got such a young group. Some of them may. I say that jokingly because I kid them all the time about some of those things about remembering trips and the year kind of strings together. I think though that in coming here the first time, it was in kind of a different format for the preseason NIT championship. And so certainly the excitement of coming here the first time, this is a different level of excitement. The stakes are higher. And, I don't know that the familiarity helps, but it certainly doesn't hurt that they're comfortable here.
Any other questions? Let's go back to Mitch.
You start 3 freshmen at guard, but they're all pretty long. I think they're all listed at over 6 foot. Does that give you guys what kind of advantages does that give you when you're defending, I guess, the perimeter?
Yeah, you know what I thought, I'll talk about last night's game. I thought we did a good job of getting in the shot line. I thought we did a good job of committing to getting in the shot line. I think that whether we're man or zone, if we can keep that size in between, those players are pretty good defenders. So yeah, and I think with some of the things that we try to do offensively is we try to use that space for post entry, and so the bigger guards, have been a part of what we've recruited. We do like to trap in certain areas of the floor, and that's where we've seen. But last night in particular, where I thought our group did an excellent job of getting in the shot line and forcing, I think, some tough shots.
Any other questions? All right, Coach, thank you very much. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.
A recording of this press conference will be available in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at www.ncaa.baritone.com. Transcripts are provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly.